Peace and blessings. This is Priestess Newtman Heat. Today, I wanted to talk to you about altar building or sacred space creation. This is one of the things that I find myself speaking to people about fairly often. So, I just wanted to give some three main tips about creating sacred space, either in your home or maybe out when you're traveling or on the road or what have you. Now, there are a ton of videos about this. There's a lot of information about this. People have written blogs, all kinds of things. So you can find more in-depth information in many places. But this is just a basic sketch, basic outline of the three main things that I definitely recommend that folks do if they're building sacred space for any given reason, whether that's an ancestor altar, whether it's an altar for meditation, or just a focal point of beauty and serenity in your home. So the first thing is to, as usual, set your intention. So you want to have a sort of a clear, focused, calm mind, and you want to sit and think about what you want this space to do, what you want to attract to the space, whether that's your higher self or whether it is the energies of your elevated ancestors, whatever that intention is for the sacred space. That's the first thing you want to do, is to set your intention. And once you've done that, you may also want to do things like pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to what you're attracted to. Are you seeing rocks everywhere that you want to put on the space? Maybe colored glass, things of that nature. Pay attention to what emerges for you after you've set your intention for the sacred space. The next main step is what I call the three C's. So that would be clean, cleanse, and clear. Again, that's clean, cleanse, and clear. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you clean the space, I mean just the basic cleaning that you would do for any surface in your home. So if you have hardwood floors, for example, and you use Murphy's oil soap to sort of wash those down, you want to do your usual cleaning regimen that you would do at any other time for your sacred space before you build anything else on it. If you have carpet and you're placing a table on, a carpeted floor, you want to make sure that that's vacuumed and free of any debris and all of that sort of thing. Cleansing would be typically done with some kind of incense or air-based uh, spiritual tool. So that could be a smudge stick made out of white sage. They have sweetgrass smudge sticks. Some of them are a blend. Whatever you're drawn to. I typically use white sage. You could also use a resin, the types of incense resins that are burned on charcoal bricks, the little activated charcoal circles. You could use those kinds of incense as well. Now, you can also use the cones or the sticks, but I highly prefer when I'm first building a space, the either the sage or the sweetgrass blends. Sometimes you'll see like lavender in those blends, something like that, or a resin that burns on charcoal, such as copal or frankincense and myrrh resin, things of that nature. Clearing the space. You want to make sure that this is a space that is going to be designated as a sacred area. So you want some kind of either understood or actual boundary for that space. You don't want to build your altar next to your junk drawer, for example. You want this to definitely be a space that is set aside in some way, shape, or form for your spiritual work or your spiritual intention. And the last major tip is arrangement. So you want this to be a space that has an intentional arrangement of items on it. So you may think about numbers. If you have three of something, you can arrange those in a pyramid, for instance. If you have four of something, you may want to put those things in a diamond or a square shape. See what speaks to you. See what happens, when you put things in different configurations, especially if you're working with stones or crystals. You also want to consider the four elements, what we usually consider the four elements of earth, air, fire, water. Uh, Depending on the altar space and what the altar is for, you can have one of each element represented on the altar. Things can stand in for each other. For instance, a plant that grows in water sort of represents earth and water at the same time, if for some reason you can't have a potted plant, let's say. Incense is good for air. An incense burner can stand in for air. A feather can be air. You can have a vessel of water. You can also use other things for water. So think about that. Get creative. Figure out how you can put the elements into your space. How can you arrange the items on the space in an attractive way? Do you have more than one candle? What can you do with that? Colors. See how colors stand out. If you're doing, let's say for instance, you're doing an altar to deal with your chakras or your energy centers, that could have rainbow colors. How do you want those arranged? Do you want to bring one to the fore when you're working on it and leave the rest in the background? Those are other things to consider. So that's just a quick and dirty way of thinking about sacred space creation. Again, setting your intention, cleaning, cleansing, and clearing the space, and arranging your items in a way that manifests the energy or the focal point that you would like to have for the space. Again, I am available for consultations. If you have more questions, you can leave a comment. I'll get back to you, or you can always shoot me an email and let me know what you would like to know about, if there's anything else you'd like to know in detail. I know most folks at this point have some kind, especially the sisters, have some kind of sacred space in their home. So maybe you want to pass this along to a friend. But please stay tuned. Raha Reiki has some good stuff coming up this spring. I'll be talking more about that in future videos. Things have been busy lately, so I haven't been able to do this for a while, but I am hoping to get back to it shortly. So I hope you all are well. I hope you all are blessed and anticipating the beginning of spring. Take good care. Peace.